Welcome back to A Little Bit of Cheese, your daily bite-sized Wisconsin sports podcast. I'm your host, Cody Depius. I want to thank you for being here with us once again today. It is October 30th, 2024, celebrating a Wednesday here, hump day, middle of the week. We had a good show with Sam yesterday, a lot of insight there, but a couple of additions to that Packers victory being announced earlier today. Edgerrin Cooper has been named the NFC Defensive Player of the Week. He had a pass deflection along with 8 tackles, a sack, and a tackle for loss. He did incredible. A forced fumble as well. So he had an incredible week. This is an award that has not been won by a Packers rookie since Clay Matthews did it back in Week 13 of 2009. So it's been a long time coming. If you can count there, that's 15 years. That would be the last time that the Yankees have won the World Series, and it probably will continue to increase. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But back to Edgerrin Cooper, just a difference-maker type of week. Without him on the field, Green Bay does not win against Jacksonville. I don't believe so. They needed that big turnover. They needed the sack. They needed all that Edgerrin was able to do on that Sunday ball game. So a good accolade, one that you probably weren't expecting. This is an award that doesn't come around very often. Now, Green Bay has had 2 players win it this year. Of course, Xavier McKinney did it a little bit earlier, but now Edgerrin Cooper adding on as well. But this is an award that is not won by a lot of really, really good players. And I figured I'd look this up just because there's no reason for it, absolutely. But Quay Walker has not won a Defensive Player of the Week award. A difference maker type of week, that's what is needed to go and win an award like this, and that's what Edgerrin Cooper was able to do. It's something that Quay Walker has not, and I don't want to keep on using this as a Quay Walker kind of bash conversation, but Edgerrin Cooper is a very good football player, and his ceiling is much higher than what we've seen with Quay Walker. So I think that there's a lot to be excited about when it comes to this linebacker core, because we're already seeing what Cooper's able to do. A middle linebacker that can run downhill, attack, that can rush the passer, that goes after the ball, and just a really smart ball player. Instinctually, this guy is miles ahead of what Quay Walker is here, and Quay Walker is playing in year 3 already, where Cooper has had just a couple of weeks that he's been able to start, and he's only having this type of playing time because Quay Walker's been out. So when Quay comes back, of course, he's gonna play, and he's going to be in the mix, but there's absolutely no reason that Edgerrin Cooper should be missing out on any snaps from this point going forward. He is a difference-maker type of ball player. He's one of those guys that don't come around all too often, especially in Green Bay. You've had a couple of middle linebackers you thought were going to be solid. Blake Martinez, he could rack up the tackle numbers. Quay Walker as well. And I would even go as far to say A.J. Hawk probably didn't have the ceiling that I think Edgerrin Cooper might, which is kind of crazy to say because A.J. Hawk was a top 5 pick, but the production just never quite got to a level where, I don't know, that one might be a little bit of an interesting take here because I know a lot of people are huge A.J. Hawk fans, and the middle linebacker, like he was a staple of that Green Bay defense. But my point here is they're 2 very different styles of linebacker as well. Cooper, of course, a little bit smaller and quicker, and Hawk was kind of just the big brute that would sit in the middle of the field and would try to knock your teeth out. So 2 very different linebackers. But I think Cooper is just versatile in a way where he can do a lot of different things in this defense and is a perfect player for the kind of scheme that Jeff Hafley has right now, where you need your linebackers to really do a lot out of a 4-3. And he wants those smaller, those quicker linebackers that can drop back into coverage as well. They can rush the passer if need be, like just very versatile, and I think he's perfect for it, and we're kind of seeing as to what this production could be for Green Bay. And it was really solid last week. It's awesome that he was able to get his recognition. But Edgerrin Cooper, the NFC Defensive Player of the Week. And once again, the first rookie in Green Bay to do it since Clay Matthews back in 2009. Malik Willis, earlier today, is the quarterback 1 in practice. This does not mean anything at all when it comes to Jordan Love playing on Sunday, but it is something to note in the sense that they want to take their time and they want Jordan Love to rest. This isn't something that he was taken out of in the second half, and we knew he'd be able to pop back on Monday to practice. That's not the case here. And we kind of knew that after the game. It's a groin strain. It's a little bit weird. It's funky. But Malik Willis is taking the helm today. We'll see if Jordan practices tomorrow and Friday as well. I think that's really going to be the telltale sign. I would imagine that Green Bay lets him kind of try to rehab that little tweaked injury once again tomorrow on Thursday. But I do expect for Jordan Love to be practicing on Friday, at least in a limited capacity. But the way I look at this Green Bay schedule, and I really think that Jordan Love is going to play on Sunday. The fact that they can even call him day-to-day at this point, this is one of those games that could really be a must-win game when you get down towards the end of the season. This could be a game that is for the division title. This is that important. At Lambeau, going to be facing tops in the NFL right now. I think Detroit is as good a team as any other team, and Green Bay has an opportunity to kind of leapfrog them in the standings and to prove that they're one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NFL. So there is a lot of importance surrounding this game. There is a bye week in Week 10. So right after Detroit, you have a long time that Jordan Love could rest up. So I don't know. People say that there's a possibility that he misses, and yes, of course there is. If you don't see any improvement from here until Sunday morning, he will not play. That is the bottom line. But the way that Jordan Love's body is working, and kind of what we saw earlier with his knee as well, he bounces back very quickly from injury. I don't foresee this being something that lingers so much to the point that he is not going to play. But even if he can't, I think we're at a point that we can be comfortable with Malik Willis under center as quarterback one. It's really fun to watch. He plays an exciting brand of football, and what LaFleur is able to draw up for him, we talked a little bit about it yesterday, but he's a good, solid quarterback, especially with LaFleur and getting him outside the pocket and drawing up some schemes for him to run in. And just there's so much talent on this offense. I think Green Bay even has a chance if Jordan Love's not out there, because who knows, maybe playing it safe with Malik Willis and trying to take care of the ball helps you to the point where if Jordan Love throws an interception or two, you don't have a chance in that ball game. Maybe playing it safe gives you a better opportunity. And I am not saying that Malik Willis gives Green Bay a better chance to win. I'm not. I'm just saying that football can be weird sometimes, where maybe the lesser quarterback matches up better against a different team. Like that can happen on a week-to-week basis. But if you start to play one quarterback and then play another quarterback the other week, which is what Pittsburgh has been talking about doing all season, that can create a lot of problems too, because there's not consistency in the offense. No, you don't want to be switching between Malik Willis and Jordan Love every other week. You want to have that starting quarterback that is there all the time. Like, Jordan Love has Hall of Fame talent. His ceiling is as high as anyone that we've seen. We've seen a lot of good quarterbacks in Green Bay. You are going to have Jordan Love as your starting quarterback, but Malik Willis, he's no slouch. He is a good quarterback. You can feel comfortable with him as a backup. And I kind of asked the question yesterday to Sam if Green Bay should try to trade him or if they should try to re-sign him. I think it would be that deal that they would have to get if they were to trade Malik Willis should be very steep. I would say almost a third or I'd say almost a second-round pick would be what it takes to put me over and to send that deal through. Because Malik Willis, I'd say he's almost single-handedly saved this season for Green Bay. There are 3 wins that are attributed to Malik Willis, really, this year. The 2 games he started, and then he had to go clean up in Jacksonville on Sunday. If you don't have Malik Willis as your backup quarterback and you have a Sean Clifford or anybody else, like, you might just not win that game. You do not. That's really where I stand on that. Malik Willis is a big reason as to why Green Bay won. He is a catalyst. You need to have him. And I think going forward, it just feels so much more comfortable for a franchise to know that, hey, if their franchise quarterback gets banged up a little bit, you know you still have a chance to win next week because your backup quarterback is a solid player when it comes to just trying to pick up this scheme and knowing what they can do and working with the other players on the roster. And Malik Willis has shown that he is probably the best backup quarterback that I've seen in Green Bay. Like, I remember the one year that Rodgers went down, you had a Seneca Wallace and a Scott Tolzien, and Matt Flynn has done great at points as well. But Malik Willis, I think we've seen it consistently over 2.5 games. He can do this. He could be a starting quarterback on a different franchise. But kind of got to get a little greedy. You got to want to keep him in Green Bay. So I would feel comfortable with Malik playing on Sunday. I'm not going to say that's what's going to happen. But if it does, I think Green Bay still got themselves a chance to win. Some other news, we'll hop around a little bit of baseball now. The Brewers have retained Chris Hook, the pitching coach, on a multi-year extension. This is probably one of the biggest things that they could have done as a front office so far this season, is retaining Chris Hook. Chris Hook has been one of the best pitching coaches in all of baseball. They talk about that pitching lab in Milwaukee. How do they get all these guys that were thrown to the curb by other franchises, and they turn them into pitchers that are all-star caliber, like a Brian Hudson, for example. And there are so many others to list, like a Tobias Myers, and the list goes on and on and on. But a big reason to that is the mindset of Chris Hook and his philosophy when it comes to pitching. He has been a big reason why Milwaukee has had this long-term success. It's because he's been at the helm of this pitching staff, and he's just done an incredible job. So really good that the Brewers were able to go and retain Chris Hook. Some happy news here in the offseason, as we're also kind of sitting back and watching the World Series as the Dodgers have hopped out to a 3-0 lead over New York going into last night, but the Yankees able to bounce back with an 11-4 blowout victory, kind of got away from the Dodgers, I believe, in the 8th inning is when things really started to blow up. But the Yankees making them go another day. So they will play once again tonight for Game 5, and they're going to try to get the series to go back to L.A. Personally, I want to see as many Game 7s as possible, so I'll be rooting for the Yankees these next couple of games. But bottom line here, and what is probably the coolest part of this series, is Freddie Freeman has hit a home run in 6 consecutive World Series games that he has played in. That goes back to 2021 and Atlanta, when he had the last 2 games of that World Series. He hit a home run in each, and now he started each of the first 4 of this World Series with a home run as well. I will always be a Freddie Freeman fan. He is one of the good guys of baseball, and he's always someone you want to root for. And I'm very happy to see the success that he's had so far in this World Series, and the LA Dodgers right on the brink of that World Series ring, which, as a Brewers fan, you don't want to see it, but I do like a lot of the individual players on LA. They're a fun team to watch. They're a superpower, and a lot of that is due to the money that they have to spend in free agency. They've been able to get it done. They didn't really have the pitching this year. I didn't think they were going to go that far into the playoffs. But Dave Roberts, their manager, has been able to create this bullpen and this starting rotation that has just been able to get the job done. And they've had enough timely hitting. And the one you look back to the most is Game 1 of the World Series, where Freddie Freeman hit a walk-off grand slam. You just pitch well enough and you have the timely hitting, and you can go anywhere in the playoffs, which is why I think even Milwaukee spending as much money as they do, they could still get it done. Milwaukee, even where they were at, they had a better rotation and a better bullpen than the LA Dodgers did going into the playoffs. But the Dodgers were consistent. Their lineup is a lot deeper, and their starting pitching has just been consistent. And the bullpen, up until a couple of points here in New York, they've really been lights out. So New York just getting hot at the right time, and 1 game away from a World Series victory. And New York, now their backs against the wall, still waiting on Aaron Judge to break through. We'll see if that can happen. Game 5 will be taking place tonight. The Bucks will play tomorrow. We'll talk more about that when we get back. Of course, the Badgers and the Packers playing this weekend, so we'll go on the rest of this week, and we'll continue to prep you for those games. But I'm Cody Depius. I'm your host. I want to thank you for being here with us once again today, as we'll be back tomorrow with another edition of A Little Bit of Cheese, your daily bite-sized Wisconsin sports podcast.